Park race, Joe Burns. Third place for the Swede Philip Backlund, and absolutely level with South African Hudson Kenner. Victor Cox in 5th place, 3 points ahead of Dan Johnson. Peter Ward is 7th, ahead of Steve Brogan, Josh Day and David Johnson, rounding out the top 10. 11th for Lee Jackson, ahead of Tristan Palmer with that one race win at Knockhill. John McGuinness in 13th place for Paget's Honda, ahead of Aquino, Jonathan Howarth, James East, Jonathan Railton, Marshall Neal, Matteo Baiocco, who had one outing, and Luke Quigley. The Pirelli National Superstock 1000 Championship in association with Black Horse. Round 5 here at the Snetterton 300. Adam Jenkinson on the SMT Kawasaki. Tristan Palmer, Moto Rapido Ducati. Lee Jackson on the build-based BMW. Jimmy Storer on his very own BMW. Ahead of second row, Hudson Kenner, James East, Joe Burns and Lee Johnston. Row 3, Josh Day, Philip Backlund, Tommy Aquino and David Johnson. And row 4, we've got Victor Cox, Josh Wainwright, Steve Brogan and Luke Quigley. The lap record is held from 2011 by Richard Cooper and his championship winning year. He did a 151.381, 95.95 miles per hour, very neat and symmetrical. And I'm sure, as we've seen various lap records break here in the support classes, there's every possibility that could go, although of course the weather is getting scorchier and scorchier and the track temperature hotter and hotter. So through the heat haze here, we've got Adam Jenkinson, number 11, on right of picture on the SMT Kawasaki in pole position. Alongside him, Ducati Panigale, Palmer, BMW. 48 degrees, the track temperature as the Superstock 1000 boys line up. Men line up, because this is real racing. This is getting your teeth into 1000cc production bikes, and there's the full house, 40 riders on the line, all the way back to Dan Neen, Stefan Capella, Ashley Beach and Ralph Laturco on the back row of the grid. Look at that, what a sight. 4 men to the row as well. Jenkinson knows he needs a good start, that's his main priority. And he gets a good grab off pole position on the front row of the grid. Jenkinson makes a good launch down the hill, but look at the Panigale. Tristan Palmer sweeps through Riches, and he's there. Oh, several people. Oh no, and he's eventually gone down. It looked as if he'd saved it, and eventually went down. Dropping into Melbourne, and a great start then by Tristan Palmer, the Knockhill race winner on his return to the Superstock National 1000 Championship. And it was Dan Stewart, a hero of the TT races on the Isle of Man, who went down going into Riches. There it is, number 27 being hauled away. That's Dan Stewart's Wilcock Consulting Kawasaki. What a shame. Lee Jackson, the kid, has launched himself to the front, ahead of Lee Johnston, Josh Day, Hudson Kenner in 4th. And I'm looking for Adam Jenkinson. This is a bit of a puzzle. Jenkinson off pole position, the current championship leader, didn't appear on our line up there, so we'll have to see what happened to him.
Well, it's actually Tristan Palmer who's out in front on the Panigale.
And I think Jenkinson's in 2nd place. So Adam Jenkinson is there, number 11, in 2nd place. No problem there then. Ahead of Lee Bob Jackson in 3rd place on build base BMW. Then Jimmy Storer on 4th. Hudson Kenner 5th. East, Burns, Johnston, Day, Backlund in 10th place. Backlund, of course, who flies back and forth to Sweden every time for these races. Runs his own track days on both 2 and 4 wheels back home in Sweden. And look at these two breaking away at the front. Fascinating. The beautiful Ducati Panigale with the Kawasaki from SMT.
No, that's right. And the interesting thing about this is obviously, Jenkinson just trying to square it off for a run out. But Knockhill, tight, twisty little circuit. You know, one that you felt would suit the Panigale. Here couldn't be more different. I wondered, you know, is he going to transfer that pace to here? You know, is the bike going to look as good? And it does. And he's really, I mean, he looks massive on it, doesn't he? He dominates it. But you can see Jenkinson was having a good look up the inside. He's desperate to get past.
So Palmer, Jenkinson lead the way. Jackson in 3rd place.
Well, this is the start, and this is obviously where he got pushed off on turn 1. It's always difficult. There's so many riders, and you know, if you just—that's the problem is he just gets lifted up, and then he just has to put it down. He gets chucked down quite hard. Luckily, the bike doesn't hit him, although it does do a bit of damage to itself. Jenkinson's in front. So Jenkinson's in front, and look at, you know, we didn't mention as well, Lee Jackson, the man in third spot. Fantastic qualifying for him. Put it on the front row. And this kid is coming from strength to strength, and you can see his third spot in the race, looking comfortable there, and just looks like he's coming back in touch. Slight mistake, as I mentioned it, the commentator's curse, but it looks like he's just coming back a fraction.
So Adam Jenkinson, championship leader, has retaken the advantage from Ducati Panigale's Tristan Palmer. 17-year-old Lee Jackson from Lincoln, very much a kid amongst men here, really, running strongly in third place ahead of Lee Johnston, the tiny little man from Ireland.
Yeah, good from Lee Johnston as well, so it's a really good ride from him. Just seeing on the board as well, Danny Johnson, he's got a drive-through penalty, infringement of the start procedure, so it's going to be denting for him.
Lee Johnston's out on a Paget's Honda this time around. I got used to seeing him on the Panigale, but Lee Johnston running in fourth place behind his namesake Lee Jackson. And I thought at first that the front two were breaking away, but this is very much not the case, because Lee Bob Jackson's looking very comfortable on the Beamer, and he's running strongly there in third place.
Yeah, and he's actually just bringing that pack with him a fraction. You know, as you say, you got Johnson in fourth, Kenner in fifth, day six, so really quite tight, that group. Fastest man on the track on that last lap was Jenkinson, the 52.1, but let's see who's the fastest man on this lap. It's Day, Josh Day. He's the fastest man, 152.2. So
one man was trying to run round the outside of another into Riches there. I think Hudson Kenner with Josh Day trying to get round the outside of him. Josh Day, fastest lap, 152.264. There are the second and third place men, Tristan Palmer, and look how neat Lee Jackson is. He's trimming the curbs on that BMW.
He's just moving in, you know, this is the best that we've seen of him so far. He's been learning the bike, you know, it's a big old step when you get to these 1000C machines, and that BMW, that HP4 BMW is one piece of kit. Remember, it's got the semi-adaptive suspension. You know, I was riding that bike out in Imola on Monday after the World Superbikes, and really, really clever. And as you hit the brakes, it knows you're hitting the brakes. It hardens up the front on the damping. It does the same on the rear. It's a really clever piece of kit.
So right now we've got Kawasaki, Ducati and BMW running front three. Jenkinson, Palmer, Jackson. Just slightly breaking away from Lee Johnston on the Paget's Honda. And he's got for company number 3, Hudson Kenner, as we watch an attempt there by Lee Jackson to drive his way past his elder brethren.
Someone went straight on. Someone's gone, yeah, wide, straight on. Lucky, they've all managed to seem sort of get past, so he couldn't. He just saw someone on the edge of the picture, but
was it Josh Day on the B Wiser Kawasaki who's gone down? I think it might be, because he was running strongly and pressing Hudson Kenner. Yeah, it is definitely the number 2 machine, I think, of Josh Day. Definitely, I think. Well, there you go. I can't muddy the waters much more than that. As they charge across the line then, onto the 4th of 14 laps. Jenkinson leads it. Jackson is threatening and also running strongly in 4th place. Former runner-up in the British Supersport Championship, Hudson Kenner. I'll only say this once, on the Homer Racing Leonic Balance Link Cell Kawasaki.
Well, look at that. Hudson Kenner, what a bit of braking. He has immediately got back on him. He just set the fastest lap of the race. This is watching the background. You'll see, he loses the front just as he's tipping in. He's a bit wide. He's trying to keep that brake on, trying to keep it turned. And, you know, luckily the bike and him just stopped that little bit shy of the track.
So Lee Johnston now in 5th place as Josh Day, who you just set the fastest lap of the race. No, it's now gone to Hudson Kenner in 4th place, number 3, 152.052 for Hudson Kenner. So he's making his presence felt here.
So safety car is out. The safety car is out at the moment. So it's just a little bit of oil on the curb where Josh Day's bike's gone down. So they're just giving that a little clearer up.
Oh, that's another Kawasaki out. So another Kawasaki falls. The safety car is already out.
It's the MWR one, isn't it?
Oh, is it a BMW? Doesn't look best pleased.
Is that Egan? I don't know. It's MWR, isn't it?
So there you are. One motorcycle gets pushed off as the other one's already crashed.
Yeah, that's James Egan.
The young South African gives a bow to his audience and says, I hope you enjoyed that. But that's very dense. It makes a change from the fury and anger and angst that we usually see when people fall off, James.
Yeah, bit of a showman. not sure which
And why
I
not?
prefer. So there you can see, this is what the safety cars come out for, just this little bit of oil, so they're just getting some cement dust on it, just suck it up.
Gentleman, he could use his beard as well as the broom, actually. Getting a few bits of litter picked up. This is 24-year-old Josh Day's under panel from his B Wiser Kawasaki. Lad from Swindon. And he was, of course, the 600 Superstock champion in 2010 by a single point from Luke Stapleford. Jenkinson then cruising round at the front is ahead of Palmer, Jackson, Kenner. Lee Johnston is 5th, ahead of Jimmy Storer, James East, Aquino, Backlund and Burns, who's not having a great time of it out here. Joe Burns, the Geordie boy, is currently second in the championship, only 14 points behind Adam Jenkinson. Needs things to go a bit more in his favour in the second half of this race, riding the JG Speed Fit from Newcastle on Tyne, running in 10th place. Peter Ward is 11th. Luke Quigley, having made his return to this championship alongside his mate Tristan Palmer, is 12th. Dan Johnson is 13th, but with a ride-through penalty, you said, James. Already taken that, or does he have that to take yet?
I presume by his time that he hasn't taken it yet, so
right.
He's got to be quite careful because you only have a limited...
Can he go in while the pace car's out? Makes every sense, doesn't it? Not allowed to go in while the pace car's out.
No. Yeah, and Steve Brogan, he's having a bit of problems this weekend as well in 17th.
Yeah.
Because we know how good he is, and looking forward to just that little bit clicking for him and helping him get back.
Look at the people
Cox,
ahead of him. Victor
saying.
Cox, who was a top man last year. Marshall Neal, the consistent Irishman, in 16th.
Well, the other thing is there is such a depth of talent in this, you know. So we're under no doubt here. You know, there's a lot of good names, you know, a lot of good riders, good teams. So
look, David Johnson, after his exploits at the TT, down in 18th place. Joshy Ellett in 19th. There's a lot of talent in here. Even down to Steve Mercer, who was on the rostrum at the Ball d'Or in the Superstock class, is the 24-hour World Endurance Race. It's 21st. And we're going to get some spectacular torsos on view here, some more spectacular than others. And also, of course, I reckon probably the shaven head is the answer when it's this hot. And an awful lot of sunbathing going on out there. Just slap on the factor 30, boys and girls. That's what you need when you're as pale as that, young woman.
Yeah, and it is baking hot here. Baking hot.
The race, safety car will be in on this lap. So Adam Jenkinson playing the leader, Tristan Palmer right behind him, Lee Jackson. I'm surprised that these guys behind here haven't made an attempt to get a bit closer, James. I presume that Hudson Kenner's got something in mind.
Nobody can overtake until the start-finish line anyway. So
at least close up on the...
Yeah, and they will do. I mean, there's, you know, you've got to really just try and... They're probably trying to just build a little bit of a gap.
Hudson is going to leave a space ahead of him, so he can absolutely gas it without any problem out of the final chicane and get away from people behind him. Perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you've got to be on them. You can't... It's weird here at Snetterton, but you've got to try and also try and get the best of that toe, so he'll close right up by the time... look, they're already closed up, and it's up to Jenkinson. He sets the pace. He can slow it down, let the pace car go a bit. He decides what... you know, when he wants to go, and nobody can overtake him until the start-finish line. So,
which is a long way up that straight hill.
It is. And interestingly, it looks like his bike has just got a fraction over Tristan Palmer on the Panigale. And I'd say a large part of that is to do with Palmer's size. You know, just being that bit bigger. He's quite a big old boy. And you know, he's not fat or anything like that. You know, he's just a big, solid guy. So it is going to be a bit of a disadvantage. And you can see he's just wiggling his bike, trying to keep some heat in, because, you know, you can't believe how quickly the heat can come out. Even on a boiling hot day like this, you know, the tyres will really lose temperature. So you just got to be careful also for that first sort of 3/4 of a lap, first lap. You just got to be a bit careful. And look, so his safety car's in. So this is what he's doing now. He's just holding the pack up. He's just holding the pack up, and now he's just going to start building it. Everyone's having a look around. Look, he's saying, get on him. See, boy, that is... Who is that? No, Jackson. Jackson in third. He's just left a little bit of a gap. You can see Johnson behind him pointing. He was getting a bit panicky.
I think he's actually indicating that he wants Hudson Kenner a bit tighter on. Here we go, up the hill, into the pit lane goes the safety car. Now, Adam Jenkinson, SMT Kawasaki, number 11, right behind him. Tristan Palmer, the motorcycle trader from Ensley near Nuneaton, cleaves his way through, reaches in second place. Third place, little Lee Jackson. No weight on that BMW at all, body-wise.
No, that's right. You know, he's very diminutive.
And they're waving a leg. The 4th place, number 3, the Grub, Hudson Kenner, who came over from South Africa to contest this very championship back in 2006 and has stayed in the UK at Ashby de la Zouch ever since. There he goes, running in 4th place.
Well, amazingly, no one made it.
Oh, we got a faller. Someone has discovered the limit of their tyres early on. And I think that's bike number... I don't know who that was. So as we go carry on round the look at this, there's an absolute stream of riders now, all nailed together. The first dozen riders pretty much nose to tail. The faller was number 46, Ralph Latoco from Brazil, who dropped his BMW.
And also qualified last.
Number 86, a black flag now for a failure to take the ride-through penalty. That is Dan Johnson. He's not come in. You'll have to have a word with your mate and describe the rules to him, James.
Well, it's also, do you know, it can be quite funny here because you've got so many boards out and actually seeing the actual thing. They do display it in a couple of places round.
You're absolutely right, because at the end of the Monster Energy Motor Star race, Joe Irving, who finished second, said he didn't see his last lap board because there was so much stuff hanging out over the pit lane.
And it can be quite difficult. That's where you needed your team to board you. You need your team to tell you. I'm sure they'd have done that, but sometimes in those early laps when it is so congested, it can be very difficult getting your board out. But back at the front, Jenkinson still leads just ahead of Palmer, Jackson and Kenner, all within 0.6 of a second. So your top 4, and you can see it down there. Is Danny Johnson, number 86. So he's the man who's got the black flag. He's got to pull in. I mean, he will be absolutely gutted. He's lying 6th in the championship, having a brilliant season. So it's unlucky for him on the 4 Angels Kawasaki.
On the 8th lap of 14, half race distance, we've got Adam Jenkinson just from Tristan Palmer. And then Hudson Kenner now through to 3rd place ahead of little Lee Bob Jackson. So Kenner putting a move on in the championship in which he first appeared in 2006. Another faller, 2 fallers have come together. That will surely be at the Melbourne hairpin. I think Brogan might be one of them who's gone down.
Well,
Jack Jenkinson then still at the front. Palmer, Kenner, Jackson, Storer 5th, Johnston in 6th place, 7th East having a good ride.
Here we go.
Local boy, of course, pretty much from East Anglia. It was Steve Brogan and Steve Mercer, the 2 Steves who tangled on the way into Melbourne hairpin. So we've got at the front though, Jenkinson versus Palmer. Tristan Palmer on the Ducati Panigale Motor Rapidos bike, staying very much in touch. And after having that top 10 for the first time with Matteo Baiocco in the Superbike race, this is a great day unravelling for the Motor Rapido team.
Yeah, it is. And look at Hudson Kenner as well in 3rd. He looks hungry. You know, he's just sneaking in there. Man with the yellow and orange helmet there, just coming in on another Kawasaki.
And number 3, Hudson Kenner from Ashby de la Zouch on that Kawasaki. So we've got Kawasaki sandwiching the Ducati right now, followed by W as they go through Murray's for the 8th time. Now we've got a real race on. We've got a sprint on to the finish. Adam Jenkinson just...
I was just going to say, you could see Tristan Palmer. He actually had the run this time.
Oh, he did. Look at that.
Beautiful bit of slipstreaming. And
James, how close does it feel when you're that close to someone squeezing inside you on a fast turn like that? Because they're going into that bend at about 90 miles per hour.
Yeah. Whoa! That was the man in 5th spot. That was Johnson, I think.
Yeah, I think that's little Lee Johnston who's gone down. He's thrown away the Paget's Honda. He's out of the race. How unlucky for him.
Yeah, and he's just, you look at this, he just tucks the front. Too much brake there. He's running a bit wide. He tries to keep it on so as not to go too wide and just tucks the front. So unlucky, because that was a really nice ride from Lee Johnson up until then.
So that puts James East up to 5th place, which will be far and away the East Anglians.
It's a Paget, is that? Well, that's definitely a Paget's one there.
Well, I don't know whether that's the same Paget's or another. We can't surely have we lost all the Paget's have congregated at the same place? Oh no! Lee Johnston getting out of the way there, thinking, what's happened?
Well, we've seen quite a lot of incidents there, so hopefully there's nothing down on the track, because that's a little bit unusual. So we got 67 there, Stefan Capella, so he's been sort of caught out there.
Look at this.
Yeah.
As we got, look at this. Second place now for number 3, Hudson Kenner. He's on the move, the South African.
Just hearing the track conditions are absolutely fine there. So there's no problem on the track, so it's just a but look at this.
Hudson Kenner is on the gas, isn't he? A man who was inspired as a lad by Wayne Rainey, his racing hero. He finished, remember, in 2008, his 3rd season over here, finished 2nd to Glenn Richards in a hard-fought Supersport championship, having finished 3rd in the Superstock 1000s behind Glenn Richards and Steve Brogan in 2007. So a lot of pedigree to him. He's had thin pickings over the last year or two, but he's back on it now. Hudson Kenner, number 3, in 2nd place.
Yeah, and he just, he's been a really good rider. He was stunning in Supersport. As you say, he did lose his way a bit. So it's nice to see him sort of rebuilding it, get some good results in 4th in the championship at the moment, and just closing in. Tristan Palmer we're looking at there as well, the man who won last time out at Knock Hill. He's definitely, you see in a couple of places, he's definitely getting drafted. He hasn't quite got the top speed of the Kawasaki's, but then he's so good on the brakes. He takes it all and makes it all back up again.
I'll tell you who's really impressing me, James, because he's on his debut season in as well as Lee Jackson in this big class. It's James East, the 23-year-old from Royston, very much a local boy. Royston near Cambridge, the paint sprayer. East, he's right up there in 5th place, and look, he's in this group. He is right there in this group, ahead of Jimmy Storer, who's got a lot of experience in this category. Nice. So 56, James East from Royston on the IDAC Motorsport Kawasaki. That's one of the best rides that they've been enjoying here as we watch Hudson Kenner nose in on the SMT Kawasaki of race leader Adam Jenkinson.
Yeah, Jenkinson's going to have a little bit of pressure in a second because Hudson Kenner has just slowly picked away, worked it. I'll be interested to see what this lap time is. What was their last laps? The last laps, Jenkinson did a 152.5, Kenner a 152.6, so this is definitely a quicker lane, nothing in it. So it's just literally a couple of tenths on track.
Hudson Kenner joint 3rd in the championship on 60 points with Philip Backlund, the Swede currently running on the ILR Racing Kawasaki in 8th place.
Here he comes.
Hudson Kenner makes a move. Wow, as neat as that.
Well, they're similar speed bikes, are just a really nice. There is your comparison. Look at that, 152.0, fastest lap of the race. We thought it would be a quick one, and it was. So Hudson Kenner, that's just well, let's have a look at a 52.0. So still not on that record pace, but it's just a little bit too hot for that, to be honest.
So a good ride then by Hudson Kenner. He moves to the front. Could it be that he's finally going to see the checkered flag as a winner here? Now, that would be quite something. In British Super Sport, of course, in that dazzling season of 2008, he had victories at Brands Hatch, Mallory and Silverstone.
Yeah, he's got a, this Jenkinson will not take it lying down. Jenkinson's already had 2 wins and a 2nd, so he's, he's a championship leader, and he still looks like he's very, very much up for this race on the SMT Kawasaki.
Hudson Kenner, who lives just half a mile from Niall Mackenzie, and the kids, of course, Taron and Taylor Mackenzie, not to mention lovely wife Jan. Very much based himself with his lady in the Midlands. Number 11, Adam Jenkinson, landscape gardener from Cheshire. Runs the business with his dad. He's always got work to get to. Crack of dawn the next day. It's going to be a long drive back before they get into the business tomorrow morning.
Yeah, if you have a nice result though, it soon goes. You don't mind that.
I'll try and remember that. There's Tristan Palmer running strongly in 3rd place for the Moto Rapido Ducati team. Heading off at the moment, Lee Jackson. James East is still there in 5th, ahead of the vastly experienced Jimmy Storer. And then number 31, Tommy Aquino, yet another of the Americans on the WD-40 Kawasaki.
Yep, the Californian, just ahead of Backlund as well, Philip Backlund, who's impressed so much so far this season.
James, Philip Backlund's right-hand man, main sponsor and training partner is Mats Nilsson, who used to race the Manx Grand Prix and TT in years gone by.
Wow.
Very successful businessman. Look at this, Kenner, Hudson, Kenner, Adam Jenkinson at the front, Palmer, Jackson, Easton, Storer top 6, Aquino ahead of Backlund, and Joe Burns now 9th, but it's hard work for the Geordie ahead of Luke Quigley, Marshall Neal 11th ahead of Josh Wainwright, Peter Ward, Joshy Elliott having a better ride than of late in 14th place ahead of Victor Cox in 15th.
Now Tristan Palmer, number 33, you made a couple of mistakes then. He looks like his tyre, which we expect at this point in the race, is starting to go off a bit. Lee Jackson, he looks like he's ready to pounce. Then behind him, there's the battle with Easton Storer. But I'll be interested to see. You've got these like two little dices for first and then the one for third. So the last spot on the podium.
There is little Lee Jackson. Happy-go-lucky little cracker. He had a little trailer with all the team's tyres on as he's kind of rumbled his way through the paddock yesterday on a little mini bike. He certainly gets stuck into the work of the team.
And look at that, Jenkinson must have made a fraction of mistake because suddenly they're back on him. Yeah. And it's actually Hudson Kenner who's got, for the first time in this race, a little bit of breathing space.
Do you know, James, I couldn't guarantee this, but this could just, if it goes for him, this could be Hudson Kenner's first victory in this class. You know, he's won in British Super Sport before, but I don't think he's been victorious in the Superstock 1000. I may be wrong.
I thought he had it all for some reason in my head.
Mate, you're absolutely right. He's won at least three times before. In 2007, when he finished third in the championship behind Richardson, Brogan, Donington Park, and twice, and Silverstone. So I stand utterly good. Thank you. So across the line then, 12 laps of 14. And going on to the 13th of 14, the penultimate lap. We've got a four-way dice here with Adam Jenkinson close to Hudson Kenner and Tristan Palmer being pressed by Lee Jackson.
Oh, he's having a look, Jackson, as well. He's going to have a look up the inside here. Not quite close enough. He's got a very old head on those young shoulders as well, Jackson. You don't see him sort of sticking it sideways and feet off the pegs. He's a very measured, very calculating young rider. Oh, so
we've got a faller.
Same spot again, isn't it?
Is that Storer? Oh, I'm not... It might be Jimmy Storer who's made the mistake and taken the pressure off.
Let's have a little look. So, yes, it is Storer. It is Storer. Look at that. So, he's gutted for him. That's out of sixth spot, penultimate lap.
Now, Jimmy Storer. Well, that drive back to Perth, if that is Storer, is going to feel like a long, long way.
Yeah, no,
Hudson Kenner then in the race lead, but only just from Adam Jenkinson, Tristan Palmer, Lee Jackson, James East in fifth.
Oh, here we are back at the front, and you can see Jenkinson can smell it. Only a lap and a half to go. He wants it. So does Hudson Kenner. He's going to have a look up the inside here, but he's not quite close enough. Hudson Kenner on the brakes. He's just got to stay really tight with him here. This bit is very, very difficult to pass.
Lee Jackson through to third place ahead of the Moto Rapido Ducati. So these two at the front. Lee Jackson, BMW, is now the third place man.
Now
he's got Panigale.
He's just got to make sure he positions himself well here, because if you position your bike well coming into this section, then it's almost impossible to pass as long as you're not ridiculously slow. Now this is where he's going to try and build. He's got to get close to him here if he wants to pull out and go into turn one. Hudson Kenner's got to force him to the outside as well.
Hudson Kenner, can he make this a fourth race victory in Superstock, and in his first since 2007 when he finished on the rostrum in that championship? He's going for it now, but so too is Adam Jenkinson, the current championship leader. Kenner, devilishly late on the brakes into Montreal, protects his line.
Oh, Jackson,
big mistake.
He just got pulled into it. Wasn't Jackson, it was Palmer, sorry. It was Palmer, just got lulled into it and really ran wide, but he's still okay. He's got a nice enough lead on the East.
But James East now has Philip Backlund and Joe Burns for company. There's a heck of a battle going on for fifth place as well. Eastie trying to hang on to that. They're the front runners. There is James East getting... Oh, and I think he might have been passed now. There's Philip Backlund on Ian Locker's ILR Racing Kawasaki. He's made the move through, I think, into fifth place. James East now into sixth. Joe Burns right behind him.
Look at this. There's only a few more places to pass. So Jenkins, Hudson Kenner doing a great job at the front, just putting his bike in the right place, keeping his pace up. There's Tristan Palmer. He's still got that bit of breathing space, and then behind him, you've got East, Backlund and Burns.
Look how strongly Kenner came out of Williams, down the Bentley straight, weaves his way in the front to try and prevent any draft being given to Adam Jenkinson. Jenko couldn't make a move there. He remains in second place. Now it's a whisker behind.
Oh, is he going to have a look upside and hit bomb? Oh, no way. It's too tight. Too tight.
He thought about it.
He did have a big think about it.
He's looking up the inside all the time, isn't he? But Hudson's just trimming the curve.
It's going to be tight last turn, Jack. He's going to go up the inside into here.
Jenko's got to drive around the outside on the SMT. Kawasaki launches into Mary's. He runs runs wide. Now he's got to try and get the drive up the hill. He might lose second place here, because Lee Jackson, featherweight Lee, lightning Lee, coming up alongside him, but he just hangs on to second place. Hudson Kenner takes the win. Jenkinson second, Lee Jackson third, Tristan Palmer fourth, Philip Backlund fifth. And we've got a faller in amongst all the... James East, a sensational sixth, easily his best race in Superstock 1000, ahead of Joe Burns, Aquino in eighth, ninth Marshall Neal, 10th Luke Quigley. But we've got a faller there who went out on the last lap and sportingly waves to the crowd.
Wow, this is what...
Oh! Peter Ward goes down. Oh, what a shame.
That bike.
Peter Ward had a good run there over the man from Rugeley on the IDAC Motorsport Kawasaki crash. Well, he describes himself as a playboy, so he's got every right to take a bow and wave to the crowd. But there we have it. We have Hudson Kenner taking that first race win in this class since 2007.
Yeah, great win for him, really under a lot of pressure. We've got to put you know, Jenkinson as well, having a go on that last lap, you know, having that big lunge, but it was always difficult. And Jackson nearly got it as well. That top three, Kenner, Jenkinson, Jackson, within 0.1 of a second. How cool is that?
Do you know, that one race win has launched Hudson Kenner right into the championship chase, James. It takes him from 60 points to 85. Jenkinson will go to 111, and Joe Burns, who eventually managed to rescue 9 points for 7th place, he just moves to 86, 1 point ahead of Hudson Kenner. A victory can make a lot of difference.
Oh, it makes a massive difference. I mean, you really start holding those points.
So great ride then by, and here I attempt it once again, the Homer Racing Leonic Balance Link Cell Kawasaki of number 3, Hudson Kenner, the 32-year-old South African, has taken a pretty brilliant victory here, actually. The man, the man who came over here and first was resident in Blackpool and then moved down to the Midlands. Hudson Kenner wins it. Adam Jenkinson in second. Lee Jackson, build-based BMW, a brilliant third ahead of Tristan Palmer. Philip Backlund leads a wedge of Kawasaki's, having fought his way through to 5th on the Ian Locker racing bike. And James East, what a great ride by East, in 6th place, the number 56 from Royston on the IDAC Motorsport Kawasaki. His best result in this championship series by a long way. His previous best was a 9th place. 7th, Joe Burns. 8th, Aquino. 9th, Marshall Neal. 10th, Luke Quigley. 13th place, 11th for Josh Elliott. 12th place for Josh Wayne. I'll finally get it right. 13th for Kyle Wilkes. Victor Cox gets just 2 points for his efforts. Jonathan Railton, the 1. And David Johnson outside the points, struggling a bit this weekend ahead of West, Blackshaw, Booth and Dominic Usher. The championship standings will look something like this in the Pirelli National Superstock 1000 Championship in association with Black Horse. Adam Jenkinson on 111 points is 25 points clear of Joe Burns on 86. Hudson Kenner leaps into 3rd place, a point off Burns. Philip Backlund drops to 4th ahead of Victor Cox in 5th. Dan Johnson remains 6th by a single point ahead of Lee Bob Jackson. Peter Ward and Tristan Palmer level on 8th place. Good points for Palmer as a late comer to the series, and 10th for Steve Brogan. 11th for Josh Day after his unfortunate get-off. David Johnson 12th ahead of Tommy Aquino. James East moves to 14th place to that great ride, past John McGuinness. Marshall Neal 16th ahead of Jonathan Howarth, Jonathan Railton, Luke Quigley and Matteo Baiocco. The National Superstock 1000 race in association with Pirelli here at Snetterton, and a great getaway by Adam Jenkinson off pole position, but through to the front charges second man on the grid, Tristan Palmer, a winner last time out at Knock Hill. Down goes the luckless Dan Stewart, but thankfully safely. And then we have another fall. Look at that, that was a nasty one, but fortunately not quite getting in the way. That was Josh Day just after he'd broken the lap record. Then another Kawasaki falls that looks a little bit peaked at somebody else's activities. And then down goes Lee Johnston on the number 18 Paget's Honda. And the little Ulsterman looks a bit put out until he almost gets hit by another flying motorcycle. Meanwhile, Hudson Kenner has got himself into the frame and moves through from 5th place initially, right through to grab the lead of Adam Jenkinson. Well, these four are now running really strongly at the front. But another faller, Jimmy Storer, all the way from Perth in Scotland. Unlucky for the garage man from up there in Scotland, as Tristan Palmer runs deeply wide at the Melbourne hairpin. Adam Jenkinson decides he's going to have a stab at Murray's on the last lap. He can't turn it quick enough. Hudson Kenner takes advantage. Lee Jackson on the Bill-based BMW tries to nose up the inside, but it's victory at last after that wait of 6 years in the Superstock 1000 class for that man from South Africa, Hudson Kenner.
We are here with our third place finisher, Lee Jackson, on the Bill-based BMW. Great ride from you, Lee, but very busy and difficult as well once the safety car came out.
Yeah, that's right. I saw we had me, Adam and Tristan had got away at the first start of the race, so I knew I had no one behind me, even though I had +0 on my ball. It was always been one of them races that people would have catch up eventually, but once the safety car came out, I knew that definitely would be a race on our hands, and I really wanted third place. I knew someone was going to come past, so I just took the first lap after the safety car steady and then got back into it, and obviously Hudson come past and I could see he had the pace to win, so I settled down and followed Tristan for a few laps, and I had to work out where to pass him. When the pass come about quite late, really, I come alongside him. I just thought, I'm going to have to go, otherwise I'm going to get held up. But it's a hard pass, but that's what happens in racing.
Absolutely. Rubbing is racing, as they say, and plenty of rubbing went on in that race. Great for you, though, another podium in the bag. Yeah,
that's right. It's first one this year, and this is the first time I got a podium last year at this round, so hopefully we can carry on. And I really needed this podium to just get me kick-started in the championship after DNFs and not so great finishes.
Didn't it just kick-start you as well at Snetterton, like you said? We'll let you go to the podium. Very well done.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the whole Hawk Racing team, Mum, Dad, Stuart Hickin, Grandad, my uncle, FGJ Logistics, Shark, TCX, Newell Projects, and everyone that's got me here this year.
Brilliant. As professional as ever, we'll let him go to the podium. Our second racer up here, our second place finisher is Adam Jenkinson. Well, you tried. There's no getting away from that. Boy, did you try going into that last chicane there at Murray's. Did you actually think that was on when you hit the brakes?
Yeah, you know, it's such a tough race out there in conditions, you know, and to lead it most of the way, you know, you're getting pressure, work the tyres hard, you know. I did all I could do, you know. I should have passed him at end up straight on the last lap. I felt I should just release some brakes and I kept it, I think. But when I passed him there, I just had a bit of front tuck, so I thought, you know, I have to think of them championship points. So, absolutely mega race. Nice to see Lee Bob up there, young kid coming through Woodson Road well. So, you know, I tried my best today and that's all, and stayed on, and we knew what we needed to do. So, just like to thank Manchester Van Eyck, Hartley Shepherd, Hugh Safety Showers, Northern School Plastering, Kev Van Rentals, you know, massive help to us all, and massive thanks to Alec at SMT and Robin. You know, they worked so hard this weekend. We come back from down at dumps, you know, it tested it, and we just, you know, pulled the bike together, and, you know, we nearly had that win, but not quite today, but I'm sure we'll have it next time.
As magnanimous as ever, a great result for SMT Racing. Well done.
Thank you.
Adam Jenkinson, our second place finisher there, and now our race winner, Hudson Kenner, the man who historically has had really big smiles when he wins the race. How good does that feel then, Hudson? You're back.
Yeah, like it's like a little monkey off my back, really. I mean, we've come so close this year. Last year, it's a terrible year, and then rebuilding. And to be honest, there's been some parts by turbo suspension, trick motor have come on board, ionic balance. All the guys that put a bit extra money in made a big difference on the racetrack. So we could even afford some new tyres this weekend, which is great. And yeah, all the team. My dad was sponsoring for me again, so that's been a bit of a break. And just everyone out there, you know, the whole boys back in Scotland. It's all over the UK now. Everyone's back here, so really, really amazing.
Bit of South African style weather didn't go down too badly either, did it?
Yeah, I was a bit dehydrated because we've had two bras or barbecues. You guys call them barbecues in the last 2 nights. So I had to drink a lot of liquid this morning because I pulled up on steak. The weather was too good. So I realised I hadn't barbecued that many times in 2 days. So yeah, amazing weather. And yeah, nice slip sliding. I knew Jenko was going to try it, and just a bit of racing. It's going to carry on the rest of the year, and it's very, very exciting to be out there. Hopefully it was exciting to watch.
It was very exciting to watch. Hopefully we'll see you back on top of the podium again. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Hudson Kenner there. We'll let him go to the podium, and well, let's cover the podium then with Jack.
Adam Jenkinson then in second place congratulates the winner of the 1000cc Superstock race. A great ride by Hudson Kenner. It's a long time since the 32-year-old former South African Superbike champion, about 10 years ago, was on the top deck of the podium, but he's put himself right into contention for the National 1000 Superstock Championship. Third place for Lee Jackson, showing that the kid from Lincoln is really making a mark on the 1000cc motorcycles and getting used to them. But congratulations to these three, especially to Hudson Kenneth. It must feel great to get back in the winner's circle.
So Hudson Kenneth probably enjoys spraying the champagne more than the other two up on that podium. Hasn't been on the top sort of podium since 2007, this in the Superstock 1000 class. Didn't he ride well? Didn't they all ride well under these Azure?